Yeah, it didn't really shock me because we looked at other documents where Kaylee told multiple friends and acquaintances that she was being stalked, Ashley, that she was being stalked and that she was concerned about it. And she even told a story that came up in several witness interviews that we've already reviewed, that she went outside with her dog, that her dog was out there, she was letting him pee, and she saw in the distance a shadowy figure. And this happened on more than one occasion, but the last one being about a month before the murder. So we've all been wondering if that wasn't Bryan Kohberger out there in the backyard watching her and planning and plotting, because that is the entrance. He came in through the backyard through a sliding glass door. So the fact that we're hearing from the surviving roommate that he mentioned her name kind of tracks with the multiple accounts of Kaylee talking about having a stalker. And I think that was pretty fascinating to me.
And, you know, you think back, now the house has been torn down, but before it was so scrutinized. This is the front of the house. These forensic investigators all went through the basement door, but on the third floor at the back of the house, that's where Maddie's and Kaylee's rooms existed, and they had windows facing the back. And if you go up around the left side of the house there where that long, big, tall tree is, you can actually peer into their windows. So you're right. When they made these reports that there was something out in the bushes that the dog Murphy kept running to, those would be the back bushes. And when they said they saw a figure back there, that would be in the back bushes facing right into Kaylee's window and, of course, Maddie's window as well. Okay, let's talk about this this incredible series of reports that police were able to interview and get this information out of the Washington State University colleagues and professors of Bryan Kohberger. Not only did they say that he absolutely had to dominate every single conversation, dominate to a point where people didn't want to be around him, but that he humiliated some of the female students. And there was an account where one of them was humiliated by him in the classroom and had to leave in tears.
Yeah, you know what? The only thing that all of his colleagues and his classmates seem to agree on is that they all disliked him intensely. You heard different things. I mean, some said that physically he was overwhelming. He would stand too close, that when you tried to get away, he continued talking. One of the professors said she was walking to her car and he followed her. She began to get an escort. She asked for an escort to get to her car one night. I mean, there was just a way of domination physically that is apparent in all of these different colleagues and other students talking about him. It also sounds as if he did a lot of what they called mansplaining. I mean, he was talking to one of the other students at a barbecue that happened before classes had started at Washington University, and she was relaying what her research was, and then he proceeded to teach her and tell her what her actual research was and explain it to her. And at that point, she decided that that's it. She's not going to have much to do with him. The number of complaints that were filed by students is up to, one of the people that dealt with complaints said in these documents, 13 complaints filed. And it wasn't just the female students who found him abhorrent. It was also his supervising professor, or a professor that said to him, that said that he would come at the end of the day, he would not disengage. And this is something that the women said too, that even when you said, I can't talk now, it's too late on a Friday, I need to leave, he followed and he kept talking. And they actually got into a bit of a yelling match about it. So it sounds like, from all that we're reading here, that he was universally disliked. And at some points, it became very threatening for some of the female students.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.